draw something like this and turn it from this into this, it's not as hard as it looks, and I can show you how to do it in a few simple steps using very simple supplies. Welcome to They're Just Lines. Today we're gonna get cooking. The reason we're doing that is because I get a lot of comments about the pop art food drawings that I do. In fact, there are some examples here in my studio, and recently somebody was commenting about those. So I thought today we'd do a tutorial on big pop art, fun foods, candy, pastry, so that you too can do these at home with a few simple steps. It's so much easier than it looks. So let's get cooking. So here's a cupcake. This is what we're gonna start with. It's a cupcake. Okay, so here we go. We've got kind of a rectangle at the bottom. We've got a circle at the top if we're looking at basic shapes here. So I'm just gonna kind of do any kind of shape frosting here, but I'm leaving spaces for some of these sprinkles to stick out so that they're all not just resting on top. All right, any old shape here will do. Okay, there's the bit of the cupcake. And now the liner, which is just a bunch of triangles. Okay, and then maybe a little bit where it comes around the corner. Now just straight down. I'm doing a little bit of a stylized curve here. And a curve for the bottom because it's not going to be straight, as you can see up here in the upper left. Now I'm going to use a smaller pen to add in my sprinkles. Now they're going to be all over the place, but where I have these empty spaces, that's where I'm going to put in some of these sprinkles sticking out. It just gives a little bit more interest and depth when they're sticking all out of the cupcake, not just resting randomly on top, because, you know, life doesn't work that way. Okay, sprinkles, sprinkles, sprinkles. I added some circles too. There we go. Finish up with just a few more. And okay, now the lines. You'll notice that the lines around the edges appear closer together than they do in the middle. So just gonna whip some of these in here, a little closer and then a little further apart where the light hits it. Picking pink. And I have 3 colors so I can add a bunch of different tones. And the first thing I'm gonna do is try to get these swirls in here. 1. Okay, first I'm going to kind of outline where I want the dark part to be. If you look at the picture in the upper left, you'll see that the front-facing edges of those swirls are darker. So I'm going to make sure I'm giving myself the chance to get that right. So where I have these lines drawn, now I'm going to do my darker color. I do a lot of when I color, I realized. All right, here we go. Now I want to do the highlights. At the top ridge of each of these swirls, you'll see it's lighter where the light is hitting it. So I'm going to make sure that I don't accidentally go over those with a darker color because you really can't go back after that. So here we go, drawing myself some areas where I know I should avoid coloring. So now I'm just picking a richer, more saturated pink to add a little depth and color, a little shading, especially under the rounder parts where you know that it's underneath some of those ridges. Like right here you can see, very good. And then of course I'll do the outside edges as well. Now I'm going to do the sprinkles. These are kind of a pain with a crayon. You may want to make sure that they're sharpened or consider colored pencils for this because, you know, it's a little tricky. So now it's time to do the cake. This is going to be your basic brown. I don't show a lot of highlights in here in the upper left picture, so I'm going to keep this basic, but make sure that I darken it underneath to show that there's shading. Yay! We're down to the cupcake holder container. What do you call it? The thing, the wrapper, the thing you throw over your shoulder when you eat the cupcake. All right, so I chose to do mine blue rather than this white see-through one because it's just more fun and I didn't want to have to do that. So I'm just doing a little darker around the edges, and then towards the front where the light is hitting it, it's going to be a little less saturated. So here it is, using a cupcake as a guide and dessert. I came out with this, 5 inches by 8 inches. Okay, now we're going to start with the lollipop. I'm going to start with a straight line first, in any particular fashion, and then I will measure the same amount top and bottom so that I can get a parallel line. Pretty standard really, always worth the extra step to do this. So then I'll have my stick. And now I'm going to start the lollipop. From the angle at which I'm looking at this, it's more of an oval than a circle, but you know, do what works for you and your vantage point. Because this is pop art, I'm not really looking for perfection, so my lines aren't going to be perfectly straight. They're going to be almost a little more cartoonish. So now I'm going to show where from my angle I see highlights. I'm going to outline these so I make sure I don't accidentally color over them. So here we go. I'm going to start coloring. I always start light because it's much easier to then go over and get it darker and darker, which is what I'm going to do here because it's such a shiny material. So as you can see right here, I'm blending the two colors together, and I'll keep blending till I get what I want to see. I'm not sure if this is worth mentioning, but it probably is. Try to always color in one direction. Unless you're doing something a little bit more complex, it really helps your colors blend better, and it just looks a lot better if you just keep going in the same direction. So here we go. Lollipop is complete. It's about 1 foot long, very colorful, and easy to do in just a few minutes.